I should have trusted my instincts 3 weeks ago when Lindsay started her new fitness routine, but here I am, watching security footage on my laptop at 2:17 a.m., and everything I suspected is playing out in high definition on my screen. 3 weeks ago, it started with small changes. Lindsay had always been health conscious, but suddenly she was obsessed with getting in shape for summer. She joined an exclusive gym across town and started taking long jogs in the afternoon, returning home flushed and energized, immediately heading for the shower. "I'm just so motivated lately," she'd say, toweling her hair dry. "Marcus really pushes me to be my best." Marcus, her married personal trainer who charged premium rates for house calls. Lindsay gushed about his methods, how he understood her body better than any trainer she'd ever worked with. Red flags I should have acted on immediately. But I've been burned before. My first marriage ended when I discovered my ex-wife's affair through confrontation rather than preparation. I learned then that accusations without evidence just give cheaters time to cover their tracks. This time, I decided to be smart about it. The morning I installed the GPS tracker, Lindsay was hunting in the shower. I had 20 minutes while she got ready. The magnetic tracker was smaller than a matchbox and battery operated for 3 months. I attached it inside her rear wheel well, where road dirt would hide it completely. "Have a good workout, honey," I called out as she grabbed her gym bag. "Thanks, babe. Marcus is really going to work me hard today." She kissed my cheek, and I smelled the expensive perfume she'd started wearing to the gym. That afternoon, I watched the tracker's signal on my phone. Instead of going to the gym, Lindsay drove straight to Riverside Park, a secluded area with walking trails. She stayed there for 2 hours. When she came home, she was glowing with that post-workout flush. "Marcus really knows how to get my heart rate up," she said, heading straight for the shower again. The next day, I took a personal day and drove to Riverside Park. I found Lindsay's car, parked beside a silver Honda Civic in the most isolated section. Through binoculars, I watched her meet a tall, athletic man who had to be Marcus. They embraced like lovers, not like a trainer and client. That night, while Lindsay slept beside me, I researched security cameras online. I ordered a comprehensive system, 6 wireless cameras with motion activation, night vision, and cloud storage. I spent the weekend learning to install them myself while Lindsay was at her sister's house. The cameras went in strategic locations: living room, kitchen, our bedroom, her home office, and the front and back entrances. I used my workshop in the basement as a monitoring station, setting up alerts to send footage directly to a secure cloud account Lindsay couldn't access. For 2 weeks, I watched their pattern develop. Marcus would arrive 20 minutes after Lindsay's supposed departure for solo jogs. He'd park 3 blocks away and walk to our house, entering through the back door that Lindsay would leave unlocked. But the footage revealed something worse than just physical betrayal. Yesterday's recording showed them in the living room, post-coital, discussing strategy. "A simple divorce isn't enough," Lindsay said, curled against Marcus's chest on my couch. "He makes good money, but his lawyer would drag it out forever. I need something that gives me leverage." "What are you thinking?" Marcus asked. "If he seemed dangerous, unstable, if there was a domestic violence incident," she trailed off meaningfully. Marcus sat up, interested. "You mean like he hit you?" Lindsay smiled, a cold expression I'd never seen before. "Exactly like that. One call to 911, some visible injuries, and suddenly I'm the victim who deserves everything." Watching that footage, something inside me crystallized. This wasn't about saving my marriage anymore. This was about survival. Lindsay wasn't just planning to leave me, she was planning to destroy my life and potentially send me to prison. I've spent the last week preparing for the inevitable. I've quietly consulted with a criminal defense attorney, backed up all surveillance footage to multiple secure locations, and prepared a go bag in case I need to post bail. Lindsay thinks she's planning the perfect crime. She has no idea she's been confessing to everything on high-definition video for weeks. The footage library has grown to over 60 hours of recorded betrayal, and I've cataloged every second of it. What started as documenting an affair has become something much darker, a comprehensive record of conspiracy and premeditated fraud. I know their schedules better than they do. Marcus arrives every Tuesday and Thursday at 1:15 p.m., parking his Honda exactly 3 blocks away. He walks through the wooded area behind our neighborhood, entering through our back gate at 1:35 p.m. Lindsay unlocks the back door at 1:30 p.m. after texting me about going for a long jog through the park. The GPS data corroborates everything. While I'm at work believing she's exercising, Lindsay's car never leaves our driveway. Marcus's phone shows he's not at the gym during these hours either. His wife Sarah thinks he's with private client. The affair footage is extensive but predictable. They use every room except my home office, leaving evidence everywhere. Wine glasses, rumpled cushions, scattered clothes. Lindsay showers afterward, washing away evidence while I remain at work, clueless. What's devastating is the planning footage. Over 3 weeks, I've recorded 5 conversations where they discuss framing me for domestic violence. Their strategy has evolved from spontaneous idea to detailed plan, with specific steps and timing. In Tuesday's recording, Lindsay practices applying makeup bruises while Marcus coaches her technique. He's skilled at creating realistic injury effects using theatrical makeup from his background in local theater productions. The key, Marcus explains while blending purple and blue makeup on Lindsay's jaw, is layering the colors properly. Fresh bruises have specific color patterns. Lindsay studies herself in the mirror. It looks so real. I almost believe it myself. That's good. You need to believe it when you call 911. Thursday's footage shows them rehearsing the actual call. Lindsay practices her victim voice, working on sounding genuinely terrified. Marcus plays my role, shouting scripted threats so Lindsay can practice responding convincingly. Remember, Marcus coaches, you're performing for cops, neighbors, and eventually a judge if this goes to trial. The most chilling moment comes when Lindsay asks, what if he tries to show them video or something? Marcus dismisses this easily. Who's going to believe him? Violent husband claims he has secret recordings? That makes him look more controlling. Besides, any lawyer will get that thrown out as illegally obtained. They laugh about how the plan plays into domestic violence stereotypes. Controlling husband, vulnerable wife, escalating abuse. Lindsay mentions she's been setting up the narrative for weeks, casually telling friends, I've been stressed and short-tempered. I've been planting seeds, she explains. When this happens, people will say they saw it coming. I've researched Marcus's background too. He's married to Sarah Wellington, a kindergarten teacher at Riverside Elementary. She has no idea about her husband's infidelity or his willingness to help frame innocent people for violent crimes. Through social media, I've learned Sarah and Marcus have been married 8 years. She regularly posts about their perfect marriage and has been struggling with fertility treatments for 3 years. Sarah deserves to know the truth, but strategically, she's going to be crucial when this all comes out. A wife's testimony about her husband's lies will be devastating for their defense. The financial evidence is substantial, too. I've tracked over $3,000, 0 cents in cash withdrawals Lindsay made over 2 months, money corresponding exactly with Marcus's private training sessions. Credit card records show purchases of expensive lingerie and wine I never saw. Most damning is their discussion of what happens after I'm arrested. They've planned how to move in together immediately, using my assets while I'm tied up in legal proceedings. Once he's got a domestic violence charge, no judge will sympathize with him, Lindsay explains. I'll get the house, the savings, everything. The audio quality is perfect. Their faces are clearly visible. The premeditation is undeniable. They've handed me enough evidence to destroy both their lives, and they have no idea they've been confessing to felony charges on camera. Tonight, I'm backing up the final recordings to 3 separate secure cloud accounts. Lindsay has been more aggressive lately, trying to provoke reactions she can use against me. She starts arguments in public, where witnesses might see me as controlling. But I don't react anymore. I document everything and stay calm, knowing her increasing desperation means the plan is accelerating. When the time comes, I'll let the evidence speak for itself. The trap is set, and Lindsay is walking directly into it with the confidence of someone who believes she's in complete control. For the past week, she's escalated her provocation attempts while I've maintained perfect documentation of every manipulative tactic. Yesterday morning, I met with David Lewis, a criminal defense attorney specializing in false accusation cases. I presented it as hypothetical consultation about a friend's situation, but David read between the lines. Your friend should know that false police reports are felony charges in this state, David said carefully. If someone attempted to frame him with premeditation and conspiracy, we're talking about serious prison time for the accuser. I paid David's consultation fee in cash and left with his business card. I also transferred $50,000, 0 cents, to a separate account for legal fees and bail. The surveillance equipment has been running flawlessly for over a month. I've got 127 hours of footage stored across 3 secure cloud platforms. The backup system is redundant. Even if Lindsay discovered and destroyed the physical cameras, the evidence would remain safe. Lindsay's behavior has become increasingly erratic as her plan approaches execution. She's been picking fights over trivial matters, hoping to provoke a response she can escalate. Yesterday, she knocked over wine in the kitchen, then claimed I grabbed her arm too roughly when I steadied her. "You're getting more aggressive lately," she said, rubbing her arm dramatically. "That hurt." I apologized and cleaned up while she photographed her arm, presumably building evidence for her performance. But my cameras captured everything from multiple angles, showing clearly that my touch was gentle and protective. She's been staging accidents, too. Last week she claimed I pushed past her on the stairs. She practices stumbling when I walk near her, creating opportunities to claim intimidation. Each incident is photographed in what I assume is a journal, establishing a pattern of abuse. The most disturbing development is her new friendship with Janet Morrison, our neighbor who works as a domestic violence counselor. Lindsay has coffee with Janet regularly, discussing her concerns about my behavior. "I'm probably just being paranoid," Lindsay told Jeanette last week. "But he's been so controlling lately. He questions where I go, seems suspicious of everything." Janet, trained to recognize warning signs, responded exactly as Lindsay hoped. "Trust your instincts. Those behaviors often escalate." Lindsay is building a narrative with professional validation. Janet's testimony would be powerful evidence if I hadn't recorded Lindsay rehearsing these conversations with Marcus first. Marcus has been preparing too. Yesterday's footage showed him bringing props, fake blood, theatrical makeup, and printed instructions on documenting injuries for legal proceedings. "The photos have to look authentic," Marcus explained. "Lighting, angles, timing, everything matters." They spent 2 hours staging a complete dress rehearsal. Lindsay applied bruise makeup while Marcus photographed the process. They practiced her 911 call, with Marcus shouting believable threats in the background. "Remember," Marcus coached, "you called because you feared for your life. That fear has to be in your voice." Lindsay's performance was Oscar-worthy. Listening to her practice scared pleas while laughing between takes was genuinely chilling. They've scheduled their performance for tonight. I know because they discussed timing extensively. Friday evening, when neighbors are home to hear the disturbance, when police response is slower, and when I would typically be relaxed and drinking wine. "Friday night is perfect," Lindsay told Marcus. "He'll have had a few drinks, so he might react more aggressively. If not, at least the cops will smell alcohol." She's been encouraging me to drink all week, but I've been nursing single glasses and dumping most down the sink. I'll be completely sober when her performance begins. Marcus is creating an alibi by telling Sarah he has a late training session with a client who requested Friday evening hours. Sarah posted on Facebook about having a girls' night, alone, while her husband works late. At 6:30 p.m., I received Lindsay's usual text, "Going for a long run. Don't wait up for dinner." But her car never left the driveway, and Marcus appeared on Maple Street, right on schedule. They're upstairs now, making final preparations. Through my bedroom camera, I watch Lindsay applying bruise makeup with professional precision while Marcus reviews their script. She's transformed herself from healthy, uninjured woman to convincing domestic violence victim in under 30 minutes. Lindsay has no idea that every step is being recorded in crystal clear detail. She believes she's about to destroy my life with one phone call. Instead, she's about to hand police officers a complete confession to conspiracy, fraud, and filing false reports. The irony is perfect. The person who made the 911 call will be leaving in handcuffs tonight. The police sirens are getting closer, and Lindsay is making final adjustments to her makeup in our bedroom mirror. Through my hidden cameras, I watch her apply fake blood to her split lip while Marcus coaches her through breathing exercises to maintain her traumatized performance. "Well," Ford sighed. "Remember," Marcus whispers, You're in shock. You're scared. Don't oversell it. Let him see you trying to be brave. Lindsay nods, practicing her victim expression one last time. She's transformed herself into a genuinely convincing abuse victim, complete with bruised cheekbone, split lip, and torn clothing suggesting a violent struggle. The doorbell rings, followed by authoritative knocking. "Police! Open up!" Lindsay takes a shaky breath and heads downstairs while Marcus slips out the back door, timing his exit perfectly. His Honda will be gone before the officers finish taking Lindsay's statement. I meet the police at the front door, Officers Rodriguez and Patterson. They're professional, but clearly expecting to arrest a domestic abuser based on the 911 call they received 20 minutes ago. "Sir, we received a domestic violence report from this address," Officer Rodriguez says, his hand resting on his service weapon. "We need to speak with you and your wife separately." Lindsay appears behind me and her performance is flawless. The bruises look authentic, her hands are shaking, and she's mastered the expression of someone trying to appear strong while barely holding together. "Thank God you're here," she whispers to Officer Patterson, who immediately moves to separate us for interviews. Rodriguez escorts me to the living room while Patterson takes Lindsay to the kitchen. I can hear her giving her statement in a voice perfectly calibrated to sound traumatized but determined. "He's been getting more controlling lately," Lindsay tells Patterson, her voice cracking with practiced emotion. "Tonight he just snapped. We were arguing about dinner and he punched me in the face. I thought he was going to kill me." Rodriguez is studying my demeanor carefully, looking for signs of guilt or aggression. I remain calm, cooperative, and completely unsurprised. "Sir, your wife has serious injuries and claims you assaulted her. What's your response?" "Officer, before you arrest me," I say calmly, "I have something important to show you, a video that explains exactly what happened here tonight." Rodriguez becomes suspicious. "Anything you want to say can be used against you. Are you sure you want to make a statement without an attorney?" "I'm sure, but I need both officers to see this together, with my wife present." Rodriguez calls Patterson over and they exchange glances, clearly communicating their shared assumption that I'm about to make their case easier with a confession. Lindsay looks nervous for the first time. "You don't need to show them anything, just cooperate." "Actually, I think this will help them understand completely," I reply, pulling out my laptop. I open the surveillance footage, starting with today's preparation session. The high-definition video shows Lindsay and Marcus in our bedroom, applying theatrical makeup to create convincing bruises and injuries. Both officers lean forward, studying the screen intently, as Lindsay's face goes pale beneath her fake bruises. "This was recorded 3 hours ago," I explain calmly. "You're watching my wife and her affair partner preparing to frame me for domestic violence." The footage is devastating. Crystal clear video and audio of Lindsay practicing her victim performance while Marcus coaches her technique. Their discussion of timing, their rehearsal of the 911 call, their laughter about how easily they could get rid of me. Officer Patterson looks from the screen to Lindsay with complete shock. "Ma'am, is this you in the video?" Lindsay's performance crumbles instantly. The practiced vulnerability disappears, replaced by anger and desperation. "That video is fake. He must have doctored it somehow. You can't believe him over me. Look at my injuries." But the officers are examining her injuries with entirely different eyes. What looked convincing 10 minutes ago now appears obviously artificial. "Impressive point," the officer. I continue playing footage from previous weeks. Lindsay and Marcus discussing their plan in detail, their practice sessions, their expectation that I'd be arrested and unable to defend myself in divorce proceedings. "Jesus Christ," Officer Rodriguez mutters as Lindsay's recorded voice explains how she could get everything if I had a domestic violence charge. "There's more," I say, opening financial records. GPS data, bank statements, phone records, and over 100 hours of video evidence documenting their affair and conspiracy. Lindsay realizes her situation is hopeless, and her mask completely slips. The traumatized victim act disappears, replaced by the calculating person I've been watching for weeks. "You sick bastard," she snarls. "You've been spying on me, recording private conversations? That's illegal." "Actually," Officer Patterson says, consulting his phone, "recording conversations in your own home is legal in this state, but filing false police reports and conspiracy to commit fraud are felonies." The transformation is complete. 10 minutes ago, Lindsay was a sympathetic domestic violence victim. Now, both officers are looking at her with disgusted recognition that they nearly participated in destroying an innocent man's life. "Ma'am," Officer Rodriguez says formally, "you're under arrest for filing a false police report and providing false information to law enforcement." Lindsay's final manipulation attempt is directed at Officer Patterson, who had been sympathetic moments earlier. "Please, you have to understand. He's been psychologically abusing me for months. I was just trying to protect myself." But Patterson has seen too much evidence. "Ma'am, we have you on video admitting this was premeditated fraud. You have the right to remain silent." As they handcuff Lindsay, she turns to me with pure hatred. "You think you've won? Wait until everyone hears about your secret cameras, your paranoid surveillance. No one will ever trust you again." I remain calm as they read her Miranda rights. "Lindsay, everyone's going to hear the truth, all of it, including Marcus's wife." Her face goes white as she realizes the full scope of what I've documented and who else will be affected. The officers escort Lindsay to their patrol car while I provide copies of the surveillance footage and supporting evidence. Officer Rodriguez shakes his head as he reviews the timeline. "Sir, I have to ask, how did you know to set up cameras?" "I've been married before," I reply. "I learned that when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them and document everything." As the patrol car pulls away with Lindsay in the back seat, I realize the hardest part is over. The truth has been revealed, justice is being served, and I'm still a free man instead of sitting in jail while Lindsay emptied our accounts. But this is just the beginning. Tomorrow I have a phone call to make to a kindergarten teacher named Sarah, who deserves to know the truth about her husband. Sarah Wellington answers her phone on the second ring, her voice cheerful and unsuspecting. "Hello? Mrs. Wellington, my name is David. You don't know me, but I have information about your husband Marcus that I think you deserve to know." There's a pause, and when she speaks again, her voice carries the cautious tone of someone who's received unexpected calls before. "What kind of information?" "The kind that might help you understand why your marriage isn't what you think it is." "Could we meet somewhere public? I have evidence I'd rather show you in person." 2 hours later, Sarah and I sit in a quiet corner booth at Morningside Diner. She's exactly what I expected from her social media presence. Kind-paced, soft-spoken, the type of person who teaches kindergarten because she genuinely loves helping children grow. "Mrs. Wellington," I begin carefully, "yesterday my wife was arrested for filing false domestic violence charges against me. Her affair partner, your husband, helped her plan the entire thing." Sarah's face goes through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, then dawning horror as I show her the surveillance footage on my laptop. The video evidence is comprehensive. Sarah watches her husband of 8 years passionately kissing my wife in my living room. She sees Marcus helping Lindsay apply fake bruises and coaching her through 911 call rehearsals. She hears him laugh about framing an innocent man for violent crimes. "Oh my God," Sarah whispers, her hand covering her mouth. "That's really him? I'm sorry. I know this is devastating, but you deserve to know the truth." Sarah stares at the screen as I show her GPS data proving Marcus lied about his whereabouts during his supposed private training sessions. Bank records showing Lindsay paid him over $3,000. 0 cents. Phone records documenting hundreds of calls and texts between them over 4 months. "All those nights he said he was working late," Sarah says quietly. "All those weekends he claimed to have emergency clients. He was with your wife. Planning to destroy my life," I add. The domestic violence frame job was their exit strategy. Lindsay gets everything in the divorce while I fight felony charges, and Marcus gets to start fresh with her money. Sarah is processing the betrayal methodically, her teacher's mind organizing the evidence and timeline. 4 months ago, Marcus started acting different, more secretive, less affectionate. He said he was stressed about building his business. I show Sarah the final piece, footage from 2 days ago where Marcus and Lindsay discuss their post-arrest plans. They talk about moving in together immediately, using my assets to fund their new life, and Marcus finally leaving his boring, pathetic wife, who can't even get pregnant properly. Sarah's composure finally breaks. Not dramatic sobbing, but the quiet tears of someone whose world has just crumbled. We've been trying to have children for 3 years. Through fertility treatments, miscarriages, thousands of dollars in medical bills, and he called me pathetic. Sarah, I'm not just here to show you what your husband did. I'm here to offer you the same thing your husband tried to take from me, the truth, and the evidence you need to protect yourself. I slide a USB drive across the table. Everything is on here. The affair footage, conspiracy evidence, financial records, GPS data, phone records. Marcus helped plan a felony, and he's going to face charges. But you can use this to protect yourself in divorce proceedings. Sarah stares at the USB drive like it contains nuclear secrets. This is really happening, isn't it? My marriage is over. Your marriage to a man who doesn't exist was over 4 months ago. Now you get to divorce the man he really is with evidence that will protect your interests. Sarah's transformation begins immediately, just as mine did when I first suspected Lindsay's betrayal. The shock gives way to practical thinking, the devastation transforming into determination. That is the turn. What kind of charges is Marcus facing? She asks. Conspiracy to commit fraud, accessory to filing false police reports, potentially conspiracy to commit perjury. He's looking at serious prison time. Sarah nods, her mind already working through implications. So he'll be arrested soon? I expect charges within the week. Then I need to file for divorce immediately, before he can hide assets. Sarah's voice is getting stronger, more determined. Over the next hour, Sarah and I develop her strategy. She'll file for divorce Monday morning, citing adultery with comprehensive video evidence. She'll change the locks while Marcus is at work, having him served when he returns. She'll freeze joint accounts and document all marital assets. The fertility treatments, Sarah says with growing anger. The money we spent, the trauma I went through, while he was planning to leave me for your wife. He watched me cry over miscarriages while sneaking around. Now you can make sure he pays for that betrayal, literally and figuratively. Sarah leaves with purpose and evidence, transformed from victim to advocate for her own justice. Watching her walk to her car, shoulders straight and expression determined, I recognize the same transformation I went through. Meanwhile, Lindsay sits in county jail, unable to make bail due to flight risk. Her attempts to claim she was psychologically abused have fallen flat with prosecutors, who've reviewed hours of footage showing her as the primary architect. Marcus doesn't know yet that his world is about to collapse. He thinks Lindsay was arrested for poor execution, not for the plan itself being exposed. He has no idea his wife now possesses evidence of his affair, lies, and criminal conspiracy. His arrest will come Tuesday morning. They're building an airtight case that will likely result in felony convictions for both Lindsay and Marcus. But legal consequences are just the beginning. Sarah's divorce will destroy Marcus financially. Adultery laws combined with video evidence will ensure she receives a favorable settlement. His business will collapse when the scandal becomes public. His reputation will be ruined permanently. Lindsay faces similar total destruction. Her criminal charges carry potential prison time, and our divorce proceedings will be straightforward given the overwhelming evidence. She'll lose everything she was trying to steal from me. That evening, I receive a text from Sarah. Filed for divorce this morning. Changed locks this afternoon. Marcus is served and homeless as of 6 p.m. today. Thank you for giving me the truth. The reckoning is complete. 2 people who thought they were smart enough to destroy innocent lives have discovered that comprehensive evidence and patient preparation beat manipulation and deception every time. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new home office, watching the sunset through windows that don't hide surveillance cameras. The house is smaller than the one I shared with Lindsay, but it's mine alone, purchased with assets she'll never touch. Lindsay was sentenced to 18 months in county jail for filing false police reports and conspiracy to commit fraud. Her attempts to portray herself as a victim failed when prosecutors presented over 100 hours of video evidence showing her laughing while planning my destruction. She pleaded guilty to avoid a longer sentence. Marcus received 2 years in state prison after prosecutors added identity fraud charges. He had been billing clients for sessions with Lindsay under false business documentation. His criminal record destroyed any chance of working in fitness after release. Sarah proved remarkably strategic once she accepted the truth. She used my surveillance evidence to secure a divorce settlement that left Marcus with nothing. No assets, no business, no home, no reputation. She even received insurance payouts that Marcus had to cash out for legal fees. I spent 3 years trying to build a family with a man who was planning to abandon me, Sarah told me during our final coffee meeting. Now he gets to spend 2 years in prison thinking about what he destroyed. Sarah has thrived post-divorce. She used her settlement to purchase a small house near her school and has started dating a fellow teacher who admires how she handled her situation. She sends me Christmas cards, not because we're close, but because I gave her truth when she needed it most. The experience fundamentally changed how I approach relationships and trust. I still use security cameras, not from paranoia, but from hard-earned wisdom. I maintain comprehensive financial records and documentation habits that once seemed obsessive, but proved life-saving. Dating has been complicated. Some women are put off by what they see as controlling behavior. I've learned to be upfront about my experiences and boundaries. Better to filter out partners who can't understand why I verify rather than simply trust. My current relationship shows promise. Jessica is a forensic accountant who finds my documentation habits reassuring rather than concerning. You're the only man I've dated who understands that trust should be verified, she told me recently. That's not paranoia, that's intelligence. My career has flourished since the divorce. Without the stress of living with someone actively planning my destruction, I've been promoted twice. Colleagues who knew about the false accusations have been supportive, especially after the truth came out in court. The legal costs were substantial. Over $75,000, 0 cents in attorney fees and court costs, but worth every penny. I now maintain separate accounts, document major purchases, and keep detailed records of any relationship conflicts. The cameras saved my life and freedom. The surveillance prevented me from spending years in prison for crimes I never committed. The documentation protected my assets from fraudulent seizure. I've made peace with becoming someone who verifies trust rather than assumes it. I've built new relationships with people who appreciate honesty and accountability. I now do occasional consulting work for divorce attorneys who need help with evidence organization. It's supplemental income, but more importantly, it allows me to help others protect themselves from elaborate deceptions. Last month, I helped a woman document her husband's financial fraud and affair. The evidence we gathered ensured she kept her assets and children while her husband faced criminal charges. "You saved my family," she told me after her husband's sentencing. The truth always surfaces, but only if someone takes the time and effort to document it properly. I've learned that people who plan elaborate betrayals usually reveal themselves completely if you're patient and thorough enough to capture their confessions. I sleep well now, in a house with cameras I don't need to hide, with accounts no one else can access, with documentation habits that ensure I'll never again be vulnerable to the kind of comprehensive deception Lindsay and Marcus attempted. The most important lesson: when someone shows you who they really are through their actions, believe them immediately and document everything. Trust is earned through consistent behavior over time, not through promises. It's not the life I planned, but it's a life built on honesty, evidence, and the hard-won knowledge that sometimes the only way to survive betrayal is to be smarter and more prepared than the people trying to destroy you. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.